introduce Rhonda Murthar, who is here to accept the Civic Award.
Tonight, I would like to pay tribute to an exceptional lady and community leader. I have made reference in the past to the fact that to the general public, her name may be of small significance or unheard of, but in the Stewards community and the world of education, her name is titan. Few names, if any, come larger than that of Miss Rhonda Murthar. With a career in education spanning a total of 42 years, her list of achievements is long and impressive. And there's an aside to the citation I would like to read you something. Secretary and board member of the Association of Secondary Head Teachers in Essex for 20 years. An NPQH assessor for over 10 years, ensuring high-caliber professionals were selected to lead our country's schools. She's been a head teacher consultant for the school's leadership programme for the Prince's Teaching Institute, an institute which is a world leader in ensuring teachers receive up-to-date subject knowledge from professionals working at the top of their field in academia and cutting-edge research. She was a founding member and director of the Harlow Education Consortium. She has been a systems leader in education as a secondary head teacher representative on the West Essex Teaching School Alliance, a director of the Stewards Academy, an academy set up to support some of the most vulnerable children in our society. For 7 years, she was a director at Science Alive. After retiring as a head teacher from Stewards last year, she became a commissioned advisor for the Essex Virtual School to raise attainment, support leadership and improve the quality of the personal educational plans in the secondary phase across Essex. However, it is her 27 years of loyal and dedicated public service as a head teacher at Stewards Academy that deserves the most credit. When she became head teacher of Stewards, she was one of the youngest head teachers in Essex and went on to become one of the longest serving. By 40, Rhonda's job of educating the next generation was made more challenging by the external forces created by repeated government interference and ideology from across the political spectrum. Her resilience and steely determination to ensure that in the face of constant educational reform, that the pupils at her school were nurtured and educated in the round, never treated as numbers on a spreadsheet, is to be admired and commended. Stewards a family, not Stewards the exam factory. To give everyone here tonight some flavour of what I'm talking about, here is a list of some of the qualifications that teachers have been preparing children for the past 30 years. The CSE, the GCSE, A-star grades introduced in 1994, GMVQs introduced in 1996 and then withdrawn in 2007. Key Skills Level 1 and 2 introduced in 2000 and then withdrawn in 2013. Modular exams and then linear exams. Calculators allowed and then removed from GCSEs on a number of occasions. Coursework serially relaxed, tightened, transformed. In 2015, the removal of controlled assessments, formerly coursework, and the return to the 1 to 8 and then the 1 to 9 grading system last seen in the 1970s. Finland, a country which is ranked at the top of the international educational table by comparison, has seen its terminal exam for pupils, the arbiter, unchanged in any significant way for over 100 years. The pressure of change does not confine itself to the title or style of examination, changes which one could in part attribute some elements of rational thinking, despite the changes themselves appearing irrational. Instead, many of the changes and pressures appear whimsical and happen largely without consulting teachers, as if professional experience were in itself a vested interest. Again, as an aside of an example of this whimsy, came sometime last year, we learned that the primary children, as part of their SATS test, were asked to insert punctuation in the pre-written sentence. Despite getting the answer correct, pupils failed to get a mark because their comments were not curved the right way, or semicolon was too large, or not in precisely the right place. Pedantry or raising the standards of education, it's sometimes hard to tell the difference between the two candidates. Schools, for a number of decades, have operated in an atmosphere where testing regimes encourage schools to attract only the most able and exclude those who have a particular learning need, because league table success seems to be the only measure of a good education. It is against this grim backdrop and pressure that the remarkable school leader I speak about this evening has worked tirelessly to provide a decent, comprehensive education for the children of this town. If anyone is in any doubt as to what the ethos of a decent, comprehensive education is, I share with you a quotation whose source is unknown, but was shared with me by Rhonda Murthar. As the old man walked down the beach at dawn, he noticed a young man ahead of him picking up starfish and flinging them into the sea. Finally, catching up with the youth, he asked him why was he doing this. The answer that came back was the stranded starfish would die if I left it in the morning sun. The old man looked up across the beach. But the beach goes on for miles and miles. There are millions of starfish. How can your efforts make any difference? The young man looked at the starfish that was in his hand, and as he threw it into the safety of the waves, he said to the old man, "It makes a difference to this one." In other words, everyone counts. It is for this reason that I believe her to be a true educationalist, a teacher in every positive sense of the word, dedicated to the craft of teaching for the purpose of improving the lives of the children she taught and for the betterment of our local community and society at large. She has been and continues to be an inspirational role model for thousands of children across Essex, and to my knowledge, at least one adult, although I am sure there are thousands of those too. In recognition of her contribution to education in Harlow and the wider community, this Civic Award is given to the eminently respected, the worthy, the titan that is Miss Rhonda Murthar.
Yes, do you want the microphone? Hang on.
I'd just like to say a few words, Ross. First of all, thank you for such a wonderful speech. It's very embarrassing, but it's wonderful, thank you. And to my colleagues who represent the colleagues I've worked with for the 27 or so years I've been head teacher and even longer working at Stewards. And the success of the school and the way we built as a family is because those people have stayed. And the 4 people here tonight were there when I started. So Miss O'Neill, she started on the day I started back in 1988. Mr. Norton was there and then came back. Mr. Snowwood was already there and has stayed there all these years. And Mr. Carroll was my very first appointment. So it's all to do with teamwork. That's what this is built on. Thank you for the award for me, but it's really a team effort that has made the success that I feel that Stewards has enjoyed.